Hey, good morning, Patriots. Beth from Ozark Prepsteaders here. I hope you're all doing okay. Weekend was a little tough for me off and on. Uh, for the majority of it, I was able to stay happy, stay focused on family and life. But anytime I check that social media, boy, I get a little angry. And I know that's not the best way to go about life, right? In fact, I was just doing some Bible study this morning, and there's the Lord saying, don't be angry, don't be angry, don't be angry. And it's hard not to be angry. I think for myself, and probably a lot of you, a lot of us, right? Because we're all patriots. I think it would be easier to stomach a Biden presidency if we felt like he really won, right? If it was an honest election, if there were integrity involved, it would be easier to stomach. We wouldn't be happy about it, right? We wouldn't be joyful about it, but we probably wouldn't be so dang angry. But they're cheating, and it is so tough to not get angry whenever there's obvious cheating and we feel helpless because the powers that be won't step in and do anything about it. And that's how it feels right now. And I just want to remind you all that, today, Monday, is the day the lawsuits start in earnest. They've, filed lawsuits all across the country. We still don't know if the Supreme Court's going to get involved. So there's still a long way to go, So here they are now calling for unity. One side of the party is calling for unity, and then you've got AOC and the squad on the other side who's literally calling for our heads, who is literally saying, let's make a list of all Trump supporters so we can basically ruin their lives. It's crazy, okay? And I don't really want to make nice with a bunch of people who have spent the last 4 years calling our side racist, deplorables, and the whole huge list of the nasty things they've called us. Like, no, I don't want to make nice with you. I don't trust you. I don't trust you because you are not authentic people. Here we are Monday. The lawsuits are starting. The election will have happened 2 weeks ago tomorrow. It's a very, very weird place to be. They are censoring us like crazy on the regular social media channels. So I just wanted to let y'all know we are on Parler. I just changed my handle on there to Ozark Prepsteaders, and Randy is on there as himself, Randy Sandland. So if you want to follow us on there, we would love to hook up with you on there. Just drop a note, let us know that you follow us on the channel. We'll make sure we give you a follow back. And I really think that's the big lesson in all of this for me, is the awakening of so many like-minded people, folks speaking out, and the realization that we need more in-person, real-life community. We know tons of folks from all over the country, but right here in Mountain Home, our community is pretty small. And we've got a couple of folks that we met via online that are close to us. One of them is real close, and the other one is, not as close, but close enough. But the truth is, if things really do fall apart, if bullets really do start flying, you need to have folks close enough to you that it can do some good. I know people who live across town from each other and don't see each other very often. So, if your connections are 25, 30, 40 miles away, the chances of you actually being able to help each other are pretty small. And, being in real estate, and Randy being a contractor, we've even talked about doing something like picking up a 100-acre parcel and splitting it into 10-acre plots, and selling those off to folks that, we are like-minded with, so that we could actually have a real life community. Because if everybody has different specialties, that would be awesome. I'll give you an example. Randy loves to plant stuff in the ground. He loves to start seeds, and then the plants die because we're not farmers. Like, he forgets to water them. I'm not going to get out there and weed them. Like, forget about it. But I'll tell you what we're really good at. We can raise some meat. Like, we are, rancher, meat farmer type people. We can certainly do that. You should see my ladies out there, my chickens. They're looking amazing. But, I've had horses for years. He grew up on a farm. Like, we can raise some meat. He's got tons of experience with, military. I mean, like, he knows how to protect an area. Like, that they're not getting through if he doesn't want them getting through. But you know what we don't have? We don't have anybody who's got a real strong medical background. Like, it would be really nice to have, some nurse or doctor type people close by. So it's those kind of things. It's about consciously and purposefully putting together a community where everybody is like-minded, everybody can get along well, everybody has a specialty, everybody can pitch in and help, if the shit really does hit the fan. And there's a lot of talk about it, we just don't know how it's going to go, to be honest. I heard that a bunch of patriots showed up with guns at the state capitol in Arizona this morning. I haven't been able to verify that. I just haven't had a chance, but I could see it happening. It happened in Michigan a couple of months ago. Like, people are angry, and people are realizing that our republic is truly slipping away in front of us. And I gotta tell you, I gotta be really honest. That's something I am struggling with. I continually hear patriots call out other patriots for not standing up and doing anything. And that level of hypocrisy makes me crazy. I've heard people call out specific organizations. By the way, they all say they're not militias, but I think we all kind of know, what they're supposed to be doing. So I hear people call out the 3 presenters, for example, and say, well, they never do anything. They don't show up, they should already have bullets flying. And the people who are saying it are people with guns who consider themselves preppers. Well, you're not out there flying bullets. You're not out there standing at the steps of the state capitol protecting anybody. You're in your little corner of the world saying, I'll protect my family, whenever the communists come, but you're not doing anything to go out there and stop it. So the hypocrisy levels all the way around are a little frustrating for me. That's always been my big issue with the left, is they're just such flaming hypocrites. Like, don't say one thing and do another and expect not to get called out on it. Like, it's just BS, right? So maybe what we should do is maybe every armed patriot needs to show up at their state capitol on the same day at the same time and make a show of it. Like, all these rallies are really cool, but maybe we need to show, rallies that are a little bit more serious. Like, hey, we're for real. Stop the freaking tyranny. I don't know. I don't have an answer for it. I think a lot of folks are in the same position that Randy and I are in. Like, they're busy working, making a living. I think that's part of how our country got here, is because the conservatives are busy working, building the country, providing jobs, making a living, running businesses. And, the liberals, maybe not so much. They have a little bit more time on their hands to do things like, try and take over our government. And they've been pretty successful at it, it looks like. So I don't know that we have answers to a lot of those questions. But I do see, as I'm sure a lot of you do, a lot of you who also are online, if you're watching my channel, our channel's nothing. I'm sure you're following, big channels with people who, have a lot more invested and a lot more to say than I do. I think we're just on the very precipice of where this is going. And I don't think a lot of folks are gonna back down much longer. If it's true about this group in Arizona, Now we've had 2 armed groups show up at state capitals within 6 months of each other. You know, that tells me people are getting a little freaking tired of tyranny, little tired of it. And where does it go from here? You know, if they steal this election, I don't think it's going to be pretty. And again, the issue is not, you know, we're a bunch of crybaby whiners who are, you know, unhappy our candidate lost. The issue is they literally stole it. There are stories out there left and right about this, the election software that's used in multiple states. And you have to take all this with a grain of salt, right? Because you hear these stories, and unless you really have time to dig into it, you don't necessarily get the whole story or the truthful story. The story I heard is that the software that caused problems in Michigan that turned votes from Trump to Biden is used in something like 40 states, and some high-level Democrat deep state players own stock in that software company. So, you know, is it true? I don't know if it's true. I do believe they've been tampering with elections for a long time. I look at places like Oregon. Randy and I were talking about this. Oregon, where they've had mail-in balloting for 20 years. And once mail-in balloting was passed, they basically, you know, haven't had another Democrat, another Republican in charge of anything, you know, because they just steal it. They just steal election after election after election. And I think that's a good chance of what's going to happen here. And I think that's what a lot of patriots are afraid of. If they successfully steal this election, we'll never have another conservative in charge, because once they've gotten away with it, then they're completely emboldened and they'll just do it from here on out. And that's how countries fall. So it's going to be a stressful week, I think. The same advice I gave you last week is the same advice I give this week. Try not to be focused on it 100%. Try and be focused on living real life and staying off of the interwebs and the fake news and all that crap. I will say this. I think it's really important to try and have some type of normalcy about your life, right? So like yesterday, Randy and I went out and we bought some Christmas lights, and we're going to put some Christmas lights up because we're still going to celebrate Christmas. I can tell you this, even if bullets are flying, our family is still going to celebrate the birth of Jesus. Like, it's just happening. So try and have some semblance of normalcy. The presents may be a little bit lighter this year because we're putting all of our money into other endeavors, but you got to try and keep some normalcy alive. And I think things are going to look a whole lot different going forward. I think even if Trump does manage to pull this out, we have had a real clear, crystal clear indication of who we can trust and who we can't. I was so surprised to see Netanyahu basically shove Trump aside and congratulate Biden in a very weird way. You know, he was like, I've known you for 40 years and you're a great man and I'm so happy you won the presidency. Trump just brought you a bunch of peace. Maybe peace wasn't what you were really after, Mr. Netanyahu? I don't know. But we're seeing a lot of that. You know, we're really starting to clearly see who are rhinos, who are deep state, who are true patriots, and who are just, you know, trash. I mean, I hate to say it that way, but it's true. And I've had a couple of surprises. Dan Crenshaw from Texas, who I follow closely and who I really thought was a really good guy. He said some things and I'm like, well, you didn't have any trouble riding Trump's coattails up until this point, and now you're just going to wash your hands and walk away? Whenever you should be one of the guys standing up saying, hey, we're not going to accept fraudulent election results? Yeah. So you should be paying attention to that. Pay attention to who who is really on our side versus who's not, who is really a good guy versus who's not, who is showing their true colors. A lot of that coming out, boy, a lot of it. So I think, we have to take the good with the bad. And I think one of the good is to be able to clearly know your enemy, clearly see your enemy for who they are and what they are. And once you can identify them, it's a little bit easier to fight them. It's hard to fight those sneaky ones. It's hard to fight them. There's a lot of folks in the GOP that we've had questions about for a long time, right? Like Lindsey Graham. Like sometimes Lindsey Graham seems like he's a good guy, and sometimes you wonder if, there's a bunch of Epstein pictures. Who knows? But he was one of the first ones to shell out money for President Trump's legal defense fund, donated $500,000 to, fighting election fraud. Like, all right, way to go, Lindsey. I guess this week we trust you. So there's a lot of that going on. Try not to let it get to you, though. If you are still thinking about relocating because you are in a city or a blue state, I strongly encourage you to get moving with that. And actually, I will tell you this. A lot of people think the holidays is a bad time to buy a house. It's actually a really, really good time to buy a house. So if you're thinking you would like to be into your new house before the election is finalized, which could be as late as January 20th, I'm telling you, you still got time. Yeah, I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to do a whole nother video about how things have changed for us since we left Las Vegas. I can tell you it was 150 freaking % the right thing to do. And we are so very, very happy we did it. And we were scared to death whenever we were doing it. So if you're thinking about it, I suggest you stop thinking about it and actually do something, because we are where we are. And I don't think it's where we expected to be or where we wanted to be. But if you are a type of person who prepares for things, then you definitely, have to prepare for either scenario. And I guess that's about it. That's about all I have for this one this morning. I hope you all are doing well. Please feel free to continue to chat in the comments, getting lots of great comments, and really appreciate it. Like to hear from folks. Like to keep those conversations going. And just hang in there. Hang tough. Yeah, that's all we can do at this point. I'll catch you on the next one.